And happening now this morning, a big surprise and not a good one. Still has some workers at UNMH in shock this morning. Elizabeth has all the details, and this is not the news we want to hear this morning, Elizabeth.
These workers were pretty shocked, Matt. 57 medical transcriptionists are losing their jobs because UNM is outsourcing their positions to an East Coast company. Now, it is still not clear how much money these layoffs will save the hospital. One employee says many of the transcriptionists have worked there for 20 years and they just did not see this coming. The employee who spoke with us also happens to be a union rep. That person tells us that negotiations had been going on, but employees were called into a lunch meeting yesterday and were handed termination letters. In June, their positions will be eliminated.
UNM has turned its back on 60 hardworking employees. Somebody who cared about their patients, somebody who cared about their providers.
The jobs are now going to Nuance Technologies. It's a Massachusetts-based company that does transcription from doctors around the country. Now, UNM and Nuance told the laid-off workers that they do have an opportunity to work for the company, but there are just no guarantees right now. We'll be staying on top of this for you, Matt.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. You know, and even if those people who are getting laid off get hired by Nuance, they'll probably make less than they do at UNM right now. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story and bring you in any updates later on the air and online at KRQE.com. Los Alamos National Lab may be getting a big spending boost this year, and it all comes after a massive budget cut last year. President Obama's budget calls for a 7% spending hike at the lab. Now, last year, you remember, Landell took a $300 million hit and ended up eliminating more than 550 jobs, most of those through voluntary buyouts. U.S. Senator Tom Udall, who's part of the powerful Appropriations Committee, says he will fight to get Congress to approve the president's budget and these spending increases.
I'm going to be in the room and at the table when we have a discussion as to the exact same numbers that for these particular areas. And I'm going to be pushing to make sure that the president's numbers are the ones that we end up at or higher.
The president's budget for Sandia National Labs is not so rosy, though. Spending levels for it are flat. And I quote, "It was not the right solution." That is what one Bernalillo County Commissioner has to say about the voted down proposal to solve overcrowding at the Metro Detention Center. Commissioner Wayne Johnson says there are better ways to fix the overcrowding problem than by spending millions of dollars to send inmates to other jails, some of them in other states. Johnson claims the court system is clogged. Too many inmates are locked up for way too long at the MDC, and he says prosecutors, defense attorneys, and judges are all the ones who have to fix this.
They need to be able to move their cases through so that the throughput at the jail is quicker.
But working out that kind of solution would be very difficult and would probably take a lot of time. Now, the federal judges who have ordered the MDC to cut its numbers may not be willing to wait, though. They could order those inmates to go to the other jails, or they could even order more drastic and expensive plans.
A stunner in the courtroom regarding a suspected child rapist. His attorney delivered a bombshell. Joseph Blea, known as the McKinley Middle School rapist, is accused of raping three 13-year-old girls and two young women near the school in the 80s and 90s. His DNA was taken when he was arrested for domestic violence in 2008, tying him to one attack, according to investigators. At the time, Blea was charged with another rape involving his own stepdaughter, but yesterday his lawyer said the stepdaughter was denying it.
She did not want the defendant to be prosecuted in this case. She recanted all the allegations and said that they had nothing to do with this defendant.
The judge is considering whether to drop those charges. The DA's office is still pushing forward with the other rape case against Blea. Police also think there were more victims out there. A man who terrorized people in a small New Mexico community will spend the next few decades in prison. 37-year-old Jerome Yazzie was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison. In 2001, he forced his 15-year-old daughter and her 18-year-old boyfriend to burglarize homes in Tuwajli. Not only that, but they were forced apparently to rob people and even kidnap a young man at gunpoint. Now, this is not Yazzie's first brush with the law. He's been convicted more than a dozen times for different crimes.
The FBI is now investigating if the same woman's behind two different bank robberies in Albuquerque from this week. If they are not the same person, they sure do look a lot alike. Now take a look. This is the woman who robbed the Bank of Albuquerque Tuesday near Wyoming and Montgomery. Then we also have a woman, this one, who robbed the Bank of America yesterday. This is the one on Tramway near Central. In both cases there, the woman handed tellers notes demanding money. Well, the search is still on for a woman from New Mexico who is gone missing in Arizona. Genevieve Selena Gonzalez is from Springer. She was last seen back on March 8th when she stepped out of a medical plaza in Scottsdale to have a cigarette. Police say she does not have any money or a cell phone and really doesn't know anyone in Arizona except for her boyfriend and his mom. Gonzalez's father told the Raton Range he thinks that someone kidnapped her, but at this point, police are not so sure.